Yeah! The shout now. Well done, Bobby Johnson. Well done, Manchester United. Beckham. Into Sheringham. And Solskjaer.
Welcome to United Hour, your official Red Cafe podcast for all things Manchester United. I'm your host, Nick.
And I'm Ashwin.
Yeah, two of us over here. Again, the same double act we had on the last podcast, although we were pretty disappointed then after getting knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Manchester City. Obviously, a much better night tonight. We're literally 10, 15 minutes after the Burnley game as we've gone 3 points clear at the top of the table. The first time since our last league win under Fergie. There was so much pressure on this game, even though it's like Burnley away. This felt like, we're going to a cup final or something like that. So to come out of it and win it and take that top just feels like so good after so long. I mean, yeah, we were briefly top of the table under Louis van Gaal those kind of times ago. But yeah, it's been a long, long time for us to be in this position. How do you feel, Ashwin? It was seemed comfortable, but in the last 5 minutes, there was a bit of squeaky bum time going on there, right?
Oh man, I was so nervous. The last 5-6 minutes, I was getting so. I don't know how he got to 7.5 minutes of extra time. Friend is awful. He was so bad throughout the match. I don't know how he figured out that was how much time he needed to extend. And then Martial misses the chance, and you're just like you're waiting, right? You're just waiting for that kind of gut punch right at the end. But no, I mean, I think it felt like a match that it felt like a very business, like we handled exactly what was thrown at us. It was not easy. It was not comfortable. It was never going to be this kind of smooth 3-0, we just get to pass the ball around and it's easy. It was never going to be easy. And we stuck with it. And I think that, it showed a lot of maturity because I thought in the first 15, 20 minutes of the match, we were getting sucked into just the bullshit way Burnley plays. Stupid fouls, kind of playing long, not being smart with the ball, not taking care of the ball. And then after that, I think Ole gave them a nice little rollicking on the sideline. And it seemed like all of a sudden it felt like, we got Pogba and Matic on the ball a lot more. I thought they absolutely controlled the match. Those two were immense. They were great. I thought they both played with so much patience and maturity. I just felt like this was a very deserved win that, I'm just happy that there wasn't any twist in the end and that Vidra didn't score with some nonsensical goal. It was a very, very good performance overall, even if, it's still concerning that Martial, I don't know what's going on with him in front of net. I thought Bruno was a little wasteful. Maybe Cavani could have gotten a little bit more involved, or his touches could have been a little better. It felt like, not even though everybody individually maybe wasn't at their best, it just felt like collectively as a team, everybody was locked in and very focused on how important this match was and getting across the line with all 3 points.
Yeah, well, I know on the last pod that, we said it was a decent performance against City, but our front four didn't do enough. And yeah, I kind of agree with you today that you can't say any of them even covered themselves in glory today. Like Rashford was very quiet in the first half. Martial was quite wasteful, even though he had a couple of decent efforts. And yeah, really needed to score right at the end of the game to make it safe. Bruno had kind of an off day, he was working hard, maybe winning the off tackle, but it's like 2 big matches in a row that he's not done a lot. Cavani's coming back in after a while and really probably should have scored as well, actually. But the difference is that, we've done enough today to get that win. And the rest of the team was very good, like you say, especially like you look at that midfield. And I think we'll talk a lot about this. And especially we're going to do a kind of extended preview of going into that Liverpool game, which is just a few days away now. And to go to Anfield 3 points ahead is amazing. Like, you would never could have expected that we were in this position. Even me.
Especially after the first 3 matches of the season.
Oh, yeah. People, what I was saying, forget people talking about Ole out after the first 3 matches. Even like a month ago, when we went out the Champions League, there was a whole load of people talking about Ole out, and for us to be 3 points clear now is crazy. And even like I said, I said it last time, for me, somebody who's been strongly like supportive of Ole, for me, he's been absolutely the right to go. But even I did not expect that we could be in this position by this point in the season. So yeah, we're way ahead of schedule in the league, and it makes up for any of our kind of cup deficiencies so far. But yeah, let's look at that Pogba Matic midfield. I mean, I think I said on a previous podcast that it's been interesting. We have so many midfield options, and Ole now seems to go either with the McFred combination, so you're getting McTominay, Fred, or I don't know what we're going to call it, whether it's Pogtic, Magba, whatever you want to go with. Yeah,
let's not do Magba. It's too close. It's too close to Maga.
All right, yeah, that's hurting you over there at the moment, is it? Yeah. All right, we'll go with Pogtic then. And yeah, he's basically seems to go either or at the moment. He doesn't mix and match these players that much, and he has tried to, and it hasn't worked out. We've seen McTominay play with Pogba, we've seen other combos between them, but it seems to be he's either going Matic Pogba or it's McTominay Fred. And today's obviously gone with that Matic Pogba combo. And it's worked out really well. And it's as well, like Pogba as well, as we've seen, he's playing better recently, but he was playing kind of wide left in a very attacking role. Hadn't been trusted to play centre midfield because he'd played a few matches earlier in the season, given away a couple of penalties, not been on form. So for him to be picked here, selected, and man of the match he was given, and I think I'd have to agree with that myself. He's the one who's really made the difference today, hasn't he?
Yeah, he was great. He was. I thought there were a lot of. Initially, in the first few minutes, I thought he was. It took him not. It wasn't a significant thing, but I thought he needed to kind of come to grips with, that position and how they were going to play. But once he kind of got a few touches on the ball, he was great. And I thought he wasn't. There are times when he's trying too hard to hit the the Hollywood ball, but I thought today he was really intelligent with how he played. He was great a few times, just using his body to turn the Burnley. They were trying to press him, and he would just be able to turn them and then get us going on the front foot. I thought even before the goal, I thought that he had made some really smart runs towards the edge of the box and gotten involved once we had kind of established a foothold in the attacking third. And I just felt like his positioning was really, really good in every phase, both attacking and defensively. And then you saw at the end of the match too, like the desire for him to get us across the line. I think he was yelling at Greenwood to track somebody back. He was bleeding off his leg at the end. I can't say enough because and he deserves the credit because, I know for sure I have, and a lot of us have, and a lot of United fans have, been frustrated with him and criticized him a lot for his behavior and perceived lack of commitment at times. At least recently, I don't think you could say that at all. At least since the final Champions League match that we had, I think that since that point, when he's kind of been restored to the team more frequently, he's been you cannot question his desire in any appearance he's made since then. And I think this might be the best run of form he's had for us since
Ole first came in.
Right.
He had that crazy run.
Yeah. And this is
totally like now it's difficult to say where we're at on Paul Pogba. Like a month ago, 90% of United fans would have said, get him out of the team. We don't even want him to play. Let him rot on the bench. And whenever he wants to go, whoever wants him, take him, get him out of here. he's kind of come back into the team. He's done well. A lot of the time as well, he was coming from the bench. He wasn't first choice. This is, like I say, the first time in a while, especially in like all right, I'm calling it a big game because, but it's Burnley away, but it's a big game because it's the game that was going to take us to the top of the table. And he's given that centre midfield berth. And yeah, he has done the business. And the thing that he's actually done, which has been lacking all season, he's actually done the defensive side of the game. Because when he's playing over there, number 8, he's got to do all that hard work as well. And today, you look at the stats, and he's had the most touches of anyone in our team today, like by far 106. He's had the most clearances of anyone in the team, 5 clearances. He's joint on interceptions. And I think only Wan-Bissaka, who's always going to be top of this list in tackles, has done better than him today. So yeah, that's, you think about him. Obviously, everybody's going to talk about his goal, which was an amazing finish. But yeah, it's the defensive side and discipline of playing in that number 8 position that's really made the difference today.
And the thing is, like, I think he always gets a little bit of a bad rap for his defensive work rate because it's mostly just that he's not good about tracking runners. And he just switches off at times defensively, but in general, when he plays, he's pretty good about pressing. He's pretty good about, winning the second ball, challenging for aerials. He's not a total passenger defensively, but it's when you play in that position, there's a lot of kind of like just tactical awareness you have to have defensively, right? And that's the part that's impressive because it's not straightforward. It's not, it's not just go win the ball, right? It's about your positioning. It's about understanding when you should track a runner, when you need to fill in for somebody. And he was great at it. And I thought even today, like I thought Wan-Bissaka had a pretty decent game on the ball. He wasn't like, it's not like he was prime Danny Alves or anything, but he was pretty good on the ball, I thought. But I thought that was kind of a credit to Pogba because I think Pogba being on the pitch in that position, because he tended to play on the right, it gives Wan-Bissaka a little bit more of a link for him to play off of. And they had some good kind of combination plays between the two, and then Rashford got involved too. And I just thought like he really brought a lot of players into the game in a way that, as much as I like Fred and as good as McTominay can be in certain situations, they're just not capable of that. And, that was a very, I don't want to throw this around too lightly, but it was very much, it reminded me of like a very mature Carrick performance or a Scholes in his older days performance where he's just like controlling the game.
Yeah, well, that goal, like I say, that's got to be Scholes because Carrick is never scoring that goal.
No, I know.
So yeah, like you say, maybe somebody like Scholes who can sit in there and do the defensive work and still make it tick. Yeah, no, like I say, you got to give him the credit. When I don't want to talk about his whole off the pitch, whether he stays and all that. Let's just forget about that tonight because look, it was a damn good performance. It's taken us top of the league, but so I don't want to focus too much on it.
It was no extra touches, right? Isn't that always the most annoying thing with Pogba when he sits on the ball and he takes 10 touches to do nothing? Like, it just gets caught in possession. He was just very decisive in his decision making today. And I mean, I can't say enough.
And credit to Matic next to him as well.
Matic was great.
Who was doing, the kind of what you'd say, the dirty work to give him a bit of space to go forward and maybe make those couple of passes that he could have done. But it was especially the second half because, we have to say actually in the first half, the first and the second half was so different in this game. The first half was a proper battle with Burnley. And from the go, they really came at us. They were pressing, they were pushing. And like you said, before, they were long diagonals, trying to target maybe Wan-Bissaka at the far post. And we're early on getting in there. But we kind of settled in, dealt with that. And then we started coming in. I mean, it was obvious that we were going to dominate possession here, and I think at half time it was like 65-35, but they'd had we'd both had about 5 chances, but we'd managed to get a couple on target at least. Martial had this kind of overhead kick that he was unlucky with, was blocked. But apart from that, there wasn't a huge amount of clear-cut chances. But the first half was all about VAR, basically. We had this ridiculous long wait with this kind of passage of play that, Cavani is taken out by Brady. So first the focus is there. And for me, that is a red card because he was through. He was goal-scoring opportunity, and it's a red card. Then they kind of pull it back and start looking at an earlier play on Luke Shaw. And to be fair, I think it probably is a foul, and I think a yellow card was a kind of fair decision. The only thing I just can't understand is why on earth it takes them like 5 minutes to make such a decision. Why does it take them like 4 minutes to tell the referee to go and have a look at the screen? And why does the referee then spend ages looking at the Cavani thing if he's already looked at Luke Shaw and decided that it's a foul? It just, the whole thing just makes no sense at all. In the end, I'd say it probably is the right decision there, but it's just the whole way it goes and how long it takes is just bloody stupid. But then after that, the thing that was absolutely mental is that Harry Maguire header is an epic finish. And how on earth anyone has decided that that is not a goal, I just can't even, I just don't even know where to go with it. I've not been a fan of VAR at any time. I do not like it. I think the English Premier League is making the biggest mess of VAR of anywhere in the world. And we've talked about as well about how Harry Maguire doesn't get enough goals and he needs to. And for him to step up in this game, get that goal and to have it chalked off is just crazy. And, you didn't see any Burnley players complaining about that goal. That's what gets me on some of these things. They weren't saying it was a foul. They weren't asking for it because Burnley know that they score goals like that every bloody week. That's like the perfect Burnley goal, what Harry Maguire did today. And in fact, I saw, did you see Peter Crouch turns up on Twitter saying, if that's a foul, then basically all of my goals are going to be chalked off forever. Anything I've ever done in my whole career probably doesn't count. So, again, the thing that gets me is they spent 5 minutes looking at the previous one. And it was like, 10 seconds maybe to check whether the Maguire thing is a foul or not. And they just played on. They didn't even barely look at it. I just can't comprehend it at all.
I didn't understand it in real time, and I did not understand it when I saw the replay. I honestly don't. How he has to be able to challenge for the ball, and he's already above. He's already won the header essentially before his hand makes any contact on who was it? Peters, I think. And it's just a ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous to rule that out. And then it's even like, was it Friend that flagged for that, or was that the linesman?
I think Friend immediately said foul. Right. And this is the problem. He immediately says it's not a goal. It then goes to VAR. And I think they must have just done a cursory check and said, yeah, fine, it's a foul. And it's all this ridiculous thing about unless it's a clear and obvious mistake by the referee, you don't overrule it. So if Friend had said nothing.
That's a goal. There's no way it gets overruled.
Yeah, that's it. He would have said, all right, I'm not sure. Let's see what VAR says. They probably would have looked at it a lot more times and made a decision. That's the stupid thing. He's just said, no, it's a foul. And the thing is, like, there's nothing else Maguire can do because, as you say, he's coming with a run-up. He's flying in the air. There's nothing else he can do. Like, he's winning this ball, and Peters is just in his way.
And Peters is just trying to buy because he knows. You could tell when you watch the replay, he knows he's beaten. He knows that Maguire is going to win that header. And he's already kind of just backing into him and trying to collapse and win. It was so. I mean, I know that because I've done that. Like, I'm not a big guy. I've done that so many times where you just, you back in and you just collapse and hope that you did enough to push the guy. And that's the thing. It wasn't. He did do quite a bit to put Maguire off, but the finish was so good. He lofted it. I mean, it was the perfect. There's no other way that he could score from that position. There's no other way. And
That's why it was an epic finish, and for that to be chalked off was just absolutely ridiculous. And there'd been a bit of kind of not pressure, but talk about Maguire pre-match because he was on 4 bookings. If he'd got a yellow card today, he would have ended up being suspended for the Scouse match.
Does that reset at some point? That does.
It resets at the midway point in the season. So after we've played 19 games, it'll reset, and that's after we finished against Fulham. So we've got Liverpool now. Next game is Fulham. After that, it all resets. So maybe he can get a yellow card against Liverpool and miss the Fulham game. Okay, who cares? But hopefully, after that, it all goes back to zero and you go from there. So, yeah, no, he's come in and, generally he's played very well recently. If we think back to Harry Maguire, people forget that he's still actually got some kind of charges against him in Greece. He also, people were talking about his head's gone and he was sent off for England. You think back to these things earlier in the season and how well he's done to actually come back, and a lot of question marks about whether he should be captain or not. And I actually think that he is actually the better character to be captain, because there was one thing that happened today with Bruno, and sometimes he doesn't know when to keep quiet, and he got a yellow card for just moaning at the referee, and it's because he was off his game and he's getting frustrated. That's the kind of thing where it's a really cheap yellow card that you really shouldn't be getting. And again, this friend from the start of the game was being an absolute nightmare to us, because it was actually after 20 minutes, he was having a word with Harry Maguire and he was moaning about Cavani, and he was telling Maguire, basically, tell Cavani to calm down, because there'd been a couple of things again, and it's obvious, Burnley defenders putting their foot in, or a little arm here and making sure Cavani knew where they were, welcome to Burnley, basically. Who do you think you are? Typical kind of Turf Moor stuff on a cold winter's Tuesday night. And obviously Cavani's had this before, so he can deal with it, but he's still going to moan to the ref. And the referee was basically twice I saw him go to Maguire and tell him, tell Cavani to calm down or whatever. So friend had it in for us all through this game. Just an absolute nightmare, basically. But yeah, look, like I say, we go through that first half, we come in 0-0. The big thing is all about the VAR decisions, really. But yeah, second half, we took control of this game and we absolutely deserved this win. The second half performance was just what you wanted to see, and there's no, really, we should have scored another. Martial had another chance at the end that he should have scored. Cavani was close where he kind of mishit a shot where he's come over there. It should have actually probably been a more comfortable win than it was.
Yeah. This is what is crazy about us leading the table. We're not getting goals right now we've gotten I think total of 7 Premier League goals from Martial, Cavani, and Greenwood. I think that's right. I'm pretty sure it's 7 league goals from those 3, and those are nominally our strikers, right? Because Rashford, for the most part, is not playing as a striker. So it's crazy that we're top of the league, and it's we've gotten a lot of goals, obviously, from Bruno. Rashford has been good. McTominay has chipped in with a couple. Fred, unfortunately, he's not joined the act. But Pogba has what? I think he has 2 league goals now.
He scored against West Ham recently.
We're getting a lot of the little contributions you need. And if we can just get if Martial and Cavani and Greenwood can just figure out, that they're so close. Today there was 3 or 4 of these, little fumbles in within the 6-yard box, and that they just can't quite get on the end of. But we're so close. But yeah, the end of the match was, and that I think is something that we really, really need if we want to truly challenge for this title and perhaps win it. We need to be able, when you get up 1-0 on Burnley and they have to start coming out of, their Burnley mode of we're going to throw everybody behind the ball and just block everything. You have to be ruthless. You have to be clinical in finishing these teams off. And it cost us against Leicester because we immediately conceded a goal and we just couldn't get it. It nearly cost us against Villa. It nearly cost us today even because Burnley, they manufactured 2 or 3. I didn't think I don't know about what Neville and Tyler were saying on your broadcast. I didn't think the chances for us, we had Beglin and somebody else.
Oh God, yeah! I just have to say that I absolutely despise Jim Beglin, and we used to have him on Champions League coverage when we had it on terrestrial TV years ago, and I just think he's so bland, has nothing of interest to say. So yeah, I'm glad they exported him over there, so you guys have to listen to him whine because, he's somebody. So thankfully we don't have to suffer. But actually, a lot of United fans were moaning actually about Gary Neville today, because he was saying, that Maguire's was not a goal, that Luke Shaw should have been sent went off. He kind of backtracked on it a little bit when the half came back in, because I think he realised that they went in the studio and we had Redknapp and I can't remember who else was in the studio, but even Jamie Redknapp was saying, no, that Harry Maguire goal should have been a goal and it was probably a fair decision to be a yellow card. And at that point, I think Neville kind of realised that, if Jamie Redknapp's saying that, then probably I've got it wrong over here.
And it's also like, I mean, the Neville thing, if you're a defender and you don't think that's a goal, come on. But yeah, I mean, Beglin and these guys, they were just like the entire match. They're just, and then so that at the end, Burnley has these kind of half chances, right? And these guys are like, oh my God, Vidra, like he should be scoring there. He should be putting this on net. It's like enough. Just I don't think they really created that much. But the point being is those little half chances. I mean, we saw it against Leicester, right? Vardy gets a fluke deflected goal because he shoots it and it's going like 5 feet wide. And then it just deflects in off Tuanzebe and that costs us 2 points. But it's like if you don't put teams away when you have the opportunity to, you'll get punished. And we really, really need Martial and we really need Cavani. Greenwood, I look, he's 19. I don't really like the idea that like he has to be delivering goals for us. I understand it given the squad we have. But like those two really need to be doing more and they need to be more productive. But great win for the team. And yeah, like you said, Matic deserves a lot of credit today too, because he was, I just think he brings a lot of calm to the way we play in these matches. And he does a good job of kind of getting different players involved and spraying the ball out. But yeah, I mean, it was really good. And, I don't think we can not talk about it, but, Bailly, since he's come back into the side, him and Maguire look a much more comfortable pairing match to match than I think Maguire and Lindelof do. So, it'll be interesting to see what Ole does against Liverpool, because I know obviously Bailly is a little bit of a nutcase, but, he adds such a good physical dimension to how we play. And he has this arrogance on the ball that I don't think Lindelof has at all, where he almost invites pressure because he can carry the ball out against it and can kind of create space doing that. So I'm interested to see how we line up against Liverpool, because I mean, like you touched on earlier, he does seem to have this kind of McFred and Pogtich thing going on, but I do imagine that we'll once again see McFred come in and Pogba moves out to that weird wide left, whatever role that really is. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, well, that is, like I say, on this show we'll do a bit of an extended, more preview than we would do, just because, such a big game going to Anfield with 3 points clear of them anyway. So, like, for me, it almost feels like a bit of a free hit now, because we can lose that game and we'll still be joint top of the league. So for us to go to Anfield in that position is just brilliant. And it was a question today, and I'd actually put out pretty much what I thought the lineup was going to be, and I actually thought Lindelof would play this game, but that was only because Ole had said that Lindelof had trained well and that Bailly hadn't managed to finish a full session yesterday. And in fact, in the end, it's turned out he said that Lindelof has had some kind of reaction in training and wasn't even on the bench today, whereas Bailly starts. For me, Bailly is head and shoulders better than Lindelof, and he's the perfect combo for Maguire, because the massive thing we've missed time and time again is a bit of speed, a bit more extra strength, and Bailly gives you that. The biggest problem with Bailly is that he's never managed to stay fit, and he has now played like 4 Premier League games in a row, and I think it's like the first time, I don't even know, maybe ever, definitely for a long time, so I don't want to jinx it. And he was they bought the stretcher out for him on the weekend against Watford, and he went off. I was not expecting him to be ready for this game. It turns out it was kind of just some kind of it was basically a clash with was it De Gea or was it Henderson? But in his
Henderson
in that game, Henderson, and thankfully he's all right. And for me, he is a much better partner to Maguire than Lindelof is. I've never been convinced by Lindelof. I think, he's an okay player. He's fine to have in the squad, but that we can do better.
He's good. He's good for depth, right? Like Lindelof isn't a bad player, but and he's fine to have in the squad. But
Lindelof is like a 6, 7 out of 10 player who's fine to have in the squad, but we need to be having 7, 8, 9 out of 10 players who are playing. And today, Bailly had a damn good game again. There was a couple of times you see him clean up for Maguire, and Maguire does need that because he's not fast. He needs somebody with a bit of speed, and it was even good at one point. I saw Bailly having a go at Maguire, and sometimes you need that, even if it's the captain. Like, you need somebody else to push as well a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Rio and Vidic had goes at each other all the time.
Totally,
and it's
totally.
good. It keeps you on your toes. And the other thing too about Bailly with Maguire is I just think that like like you said, they complement each other really well. And as much as Maguire needs somebody like Bailly next to him, Bailly absolutely needs somebody like Maguire next to him, because Bailly, for all his the physical attributes he has, he's terrible in the air. He's absolutely horrible in the air. Much like Lindelof isn't very good in the air. But Maguire, obviously, he can get that slab head onto anything, and that helps us a lot. I thought some of the aerial duels today, Maguire did a really good job of cleaning that up. Whereas if you had Lindelof next to him, it would be a disaster. It feels a little harsh on Lindelof, but the thing, like you said, Bailly is just better. When he is fit, he is just a better player than Lindelof is, and he's he opens up more for the team. He allows you to kind of feel comfortable pushing your fullbacks higher and opening up in midfield. Even Maguire today, we saw I think that's the furthest forward consistently I've seen him in the attacking third. He was getting forward constantly getting into that half space on the left. He was really good, and before we kind of move on, I think that, I thought Shaw was excellent today too.
Yeah. Actually, I think before kind of Pogba turned it on in the second half, Shaw was the best performer for me and had a very good game. Was a lot involved in the attacking play, did the defensive work well as well. And, we are seeing the benefit of him staying fit for the first time in a while. There's been a lot of question marks over whether he's good enough. Tellez coming in seems to have pushed him on. But yeah, for me, I don't think there's ever been a doubt about his ability. It's always been for the same thing as Bailly, that if he can stay fit, get that run of games, that he's feeling fit, feeling confident, that you see like the best of Luke Shaw. And yeah, at the moment we are seeing it, but you still have that doubt in your mind whether he does get an injury here or there. So yeah, I don't know. The likes of Shaw, Bailly, they need to be wrapped in cotton wool. We don't want any big challenges coming in training in the next 4 or 5 days. Because yeah, for me, they're sure starters. Yeah, the defense picks itself. Like I say, if we're talking about the Liverpool game, it's straight. It's De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Bailly, Maguire, Shaw. Then going forward from that is where there's a lot of questions, and we can definitely get into debating who exactly we would start at that Anfield game.
Just one last thing about Shaw, which I think is interesting because he's been kind of a lightning rod player for the CAF and just United fans in general. But on current form, given this season, I think he's been the best left back in the league. And especially over the last month, 2 months, what was the match where Ole actually brought him on for Tellez at halftime? His attacking play is, it is maybe the end product isn't quite there in terms of assists and goals.
Yeah, if he could get a good final ball, a good cross, then you're talking about an outstanding play. He just still doesn't have it, and you do see the difference when Tellez comes in just as a player who's naturally ready to whip the ball in, even though it's not necessarily ended in goals for us or whatever. You do see Tellez is straight away bangs in the ball with a nice whip on it, whereas Shaw often is more likely to pull it back and lay it off to somebody.
But his movement is so good now when he combines with either Rashford or Martial on the left. He's always once we get into those areas, he's always threatening. He's always threatening in behind, and I think that has really taken him up another level as a fullback.
Yeah, I think if we're talking about the best left back, I do still like Ben Chilwell a lot, and they're the kind of options for England. I mean, Shaw often doesn't really get in the England squad because he's always injured when it comes back round, so he has kind of lost time to the likes of Chilwell over there. But yeah, if he stays fit, I know that Gareth Southgate does rate him because he's had him in there before. So yeah, we'll see from there. But let's go back and just talk about that goal that actually we haven't really talked about enough. I mean, I'm always writing down notes when I know we're going to do the podcast, and at various points this game I'd written Martial, poor. I'd written Bruno, poor. And about 5 minutes before this goal, I'd written Rashford, poor. Because he was kind of struggling a bit on the right side. I think we talked on the last pod about saying he'd done relatively well on the right, but we did kind of point out that, it limits him because he can't go the other way. Where he'd normally come in and try and curl in with the right foot. He doesn't have that. So Burnley had obviously worked this out and were keeping him very much to one side, and he wasn't having any joy at all. I mean, I don't know if you follow all this stuff, but he's been very much in the press today on his whole kids' school lunches.
Yep.
Thing, and even at 7 in the afternoon he put out like an 8-post thread where he's been discussing with the Department of Education, these caterers who are supposed to be filling in COVID times to make sure disadvantaged kids in the England are fed while schools are closed, because normally these families are used to their children obviously getting school lunches. At the moment they've closed down schools due to COVID, so it's like where are these kids going to get food from? And there's been a whole fiasco of something like £30 a head being given to some company to feed families over there, and they ended up with a loaf of bread and a couple of apples and a carrot, and they were like, there you go, that'll sort you out for a week. Some private companies creaming off big profits basically. And I don't know whether he personally is tweeting out all this stuff, because a lot of players have kind of staff or somebody else who's dealing with that kind of thing, but we know for sure that he himself is putting himself forward to be talking with government departments. And even on a match day, for him to be doing that, you don't want to say, look, stop doing it, focus on the football.
Oh, but that would happen if he didn't produce it and it was a 0-0 draw. Of course that's going to happen. Well, people
have already
right?
said it before, and for me, I'll say, look, even if he comes on and scores 2 own goals after what he's done today, it's actually worthwhile. But that he did very little in this game, but then all of a sudden that he pulls out an assist at the perfect time, and just a great finish from Pogba, who I myself have said that the only thing Pogba lacks from really going into that kind of world-class bracket is finishing. Time and time again, he shoots wide, high, whatever. He doesn't have that composure of shooting. And when we had that Leeds game, I said it shows you that actually somebody like McTominay actually has a much better shooting and scoring record than Pogba. But today though, he's finished it. And again, West Ham recently scored as well, and in fact he's up for Premier League Goal of the Month for that one, and this one might be in the next month's scenario as well. And look, in the end, that's what gets us the 3 points.
And I think Pogba, when he just rips it, when he just tries to leather the ball, it's always much better than when he tries to kind of finesse it and pass it into the net or hit the corner. I just think he needs to, I don't remember. I think most of his goals that aren't headed goals have just been of the absolute just pile driver type variety, and very rarely do his finesse finishes ever come off, if ever. I think one of the few I can remember was last year against Villa when he scored off the corner. But I loved that there was no extra touch. He didn't try to get too cute. He just he got the ball from Rashford. A great ball, by the way, really good pick out. And then, he just smashed it. And I know there was a little bit of fortune with the deflection, but that was on target either way. It was going to be on target either way. So maybe Pope stops it, maybe not. But the fact that he just put his laces through it and went for it, I think there are times that him and Matic, especially, and McTominay, sometimes they just need to shoot more, because even if you're not scoring from them, it makes the other team have to honor that possibility, right? So they have to come out more, and maybe that creates a little bit more space for Rashford or Cavani or whoever to get a better chance off that you can create then. But look, he deserved the goal, right? He deserved it because he was the best player on the pitch tonight, I thought. He had this one touch in the first half where I think Pope cleared it, and it's like an aerial duel, and Ashley Barnes is all over him, and Pogba just holds him off and brings it down like Fellaini on his chest. Just brings it down, puts it on the ground, plays Rashford the ball. It was incredible. He was just so much better than everybody today. And when he plays like that, it's like that's the player you paid that fee for, right? That is the player that you paid £89 million for.
Totally. That's it. Man of the match, delivered the 3 points to take us top of the table. And yeah, you can't argue with that. I mean, yes. I mean, if we look ahead to that Liverpool game, I think he should start that game. But for me, I bring back the McFred midfield because we're going away to Anfield. And Pogba comes in that left kind of attacking role. I would play Rashford on the right, Bruno, and then there is a bit of a 50-50 toss-up between Cavani and Martial up front for me. Neither of them were great today. I would probably go with Cavani. Just as I've said, he's the more natural number 9. He's the one who kind of fits in over there. Even though, he wasn't that great today. But Martial also limps out today, so he may not even be available. So it might actually make Ole's choice for him. But I don't know about you. Is that where you at? Or do you think that today Matic and Pogba did so well that you'd want them to be starting on the weekend?
I think it's a totally different match. I think Liverpool are way more energetic in the middle. And I know that they're beat up, but, their midfield is still pretty solid. Thiago... And what?
Thiago is back.
Yeah, I don't know if Henderson is going to do this. I don't know what they. I mean, I know that they had a very epic match against the Aston Villa under 12s.
12,
but
and they even they threw out the full Mane and Salah against those kids over there. I mean, I remember seeing somebody posted up
brought Thiago.
Oh, exactly.
And
somebody posted up on Twitter. It was like the scene from Star Wars where Anakin Skywalker goes into like the Jedi nursery with all like the 7-year-old children and just slaughters them all. And it was like, here we go. And that was basically what it was like.
Yeah, but like I just think that I feel like they'll be flying about a bit more than Burnley. They're not. Their game plan is not going to be to hit us on the counter, play very deep, or any of that. I think that they won't. The time and space that Matic and Pogba had today, at times they're not going to get against Liverpool, and that doesn't mean that they shouldn't start. But I do think you need to be cognizant of that, and I think you need some legs in the middle of the park because Liverpool, if they do get a turnover, we've seen it, right? They as soon as they get a turnover in the middle, they get at you, and I think you need some athleticism there to kind of account for that. Who that is and what the combination is, I expect it will be McFred, and I think that and like you said, with Martial limping off, might be a perfect excuse, right, to put Pogba on the left, start Cavani up top, and then just play Rashford on the right again for Ole, right? It's almost like a perfect excuse then to change the formula. But yeah, I mean, look, Matic he's still so good when you can manage his minutes, but the thing is, you have to manage them. You can't extend him. You cannot push him. And I know that we have 5 days until that match, but I would be a little worried about putting him on again for another, because you're probably not going to sub him out if he plays. Matic is one of those players who, when he starts, Ole tends to leave him on for the whole match. So I would be surprised if he starts, and I would be a little concerned just because the intensity of that game is going to be high. And second match in a week for him, it's always a tough ask at his age. And like, I just think that we need to, of course, if you win the match, it's massive, right? It's a massive victory, really creates separation between us and Liverpool on the table. And I think, lays down a marker in a way, but you have to be, it's a win there doesn't necessarily win us the league. It doesn't guarantee anything. And I think Matic, making sure he can be available for us over the course of the season is more important than can we get this is not a cup final, right? This is not the last day of the season, and if we win the league, and that's it. Like, this is okay, if we win, great. If we lose, we're level now on points with Liverpool at the top of the league. If we get a draw, we still stay ahead of them by 3 points. This is not like the league is still there to be won or lost, regardless of the results.
A draw 4 points.
Yeah.
With 3 points now, a draw, keeps us equal ahead of them. I mean, look, we don't have a good record against Liverpool recently. It's something we have talked about before, that last season, kind of Ole's record against the likes of Pep, Jose, in the big games did save him. But against Liverpool, we don't have a great record.
Although I think we've played pretty well against them. Yeah.
Well, we were actually unlucky last season that it was 1-1 at home, and they equalised very late on after we played a good game. But they beat us relatively easily at Anfield. We lost 2-0. We had a 0-0 against them in the season before, and then they also beat us at Anfield. And then I think you go back to 2018 when we beat them 2-1. I think Ole still needs to be getting one over on Klopp. This is the perfect time. We know that their defence at the moment is weak. Obviously, Van Dijk, the big miss. But even after that, Gomez is out. Matip is out. So they've been playing Fabinho.
Williams.
I think even Henderson had a game.
Henderson started there against Southampton.
Against Southampton that they lost. They had just before Christmas, they beat Tottenham. Dan, everybody said, Liverpool are back and whatever. They then absolutely annihilated Palace 7-0. But then 1-1 with West Brom. Big Sam comes up and does a Big Sam special. 0-0 against Newcastle. Steve Bruce doing us a big favour, as he always does over the years. And then, you saw Ralph Hasenhuttl was actually in tears after beating Liverpool 1-0. It was great to see. And then, after that, they've had this Villa game in the Cup, and then they're getting a full 9-day rest before our match, which is slightly annoying because originally we were also getting a week off and having that rest. But this Burnley game's come in, and in fact, look, it gives us a bit of impetus. We still have 5 days before we go again to Liverpool. It's a decent amount of rest. It's not like those Christmas turnovers of 2-3 days. So, look, their defence really needs to be got at. And I think that's why I would go with somebody like Cavani, who's so experienced, so clever in movement, that when you have kind of backup centre-backs that are not top of their game, he is the one who can exploit that. So even if Martial is fit, I personally will be put Martial on the bench because I think Pogba deserves to play, and I'll play him in that attacking left side. Start, like I said, Rashford on the right, and I think I start Cavani and keep Martial on the bench. That would be the way I would go over here. Look, I think this is the time. It's the first time in a long time when we can go to Anfield and feel that we can actually go toe-to-toe with this team.
Yeah, and I mean, I know I just gave a 10-minute reason for why Matic maybe shouldn't play, but if I felt comfortable with his fitness, I would start him over McTominay. I would play Fred and Matic in the middle.
Yeah, but that, as I said, it goes back to this thing that Ole, he'll play Fred and McTominay, or he'll play Pogba and Matic.
But he has played Fred and Matic before. I mean, but
he has, and it didn't work out well, and that's why he hasn't.
But it worked well last year. It worked well last year when we were before Pogba came before lockdown. That we were still the thing I think people forget is even before we came out of lockdown, we had actually already started a winning run, and that was with Bruno, Fred, and Matic in the middle. And I think that
Pogba was still injured then, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I think what Matic allows you to do in that, I think you get the ball winning with Fred, right? You get that kind of terrier-like work rate. Him and Matic have a much better understanding. When Matic and McTominay play together, I always hate it. It's always terrible. It always feels like they're both occupying the same space. I think Fred has a good understanding. I mean, Fred, I think, has a good understanding with basically all of our midfielders, but him and Matic have a good understanding, and I think they complement each other well because Fred gives you those legs and he gives you that energy that Matic, at his age, he just can't do that. And you don't want him to do that. That's not why he's in the game. He's there to kind of read the game and plug the holes. When Fred is running around like a psycho trying to win the ball, Matic can keep a level head, stay in there, and cover the gaps. And And then, in possession, I think Matic adds a lot of value to just our general play. So I would start him if I felt comfortable about his fitness. But I think Ole knows how important Matic is, and he's been very, very careful with his minutes this season. So I would expect that it's a McFred thing. But yeah, I mean,
and it's worth mentioning as well that, since last time we recorded, we did, of course, play FA Cup as well, beat Watford 1-0. McTominay comes in as captain and scores the match-winning goal. And then, I think... I remember like the time before that, we were at the City game and a lot of people questioned when he made a substitution, he kept Fred on, even though he was on a yellow card, and took McTominay off. And everyone's like, what the hell is Ole doing? But it's because he'd already decided that McTominay was going to be starting and captaining the team in the next game. And I'm pretty sure he's then rested and he's definitely playing in the next match. I mean, it's something that Fergie used to do back in the day. Like he'd said, he used to plan his teams like way in advance.
And Ole has referenced that multiple times.
Exactly. Yeah. So Ole will have already decided who is playing against Liverpool. Of course, you can have injuries. You can have maybe somebody has an absolute worldie of a performance and you say, all right, you're going to play again. So now and again, things like that will change it. But I'm pretty certain he'd already decided, and that's why they're rested and are going to be fresh. It's going to be Fred and McTominay. But yeah, look, we'll see. Like I say, today, McTominay and Pogba did do very well. So maybe do put question marks on that. But yeah, it was brilliant to see McTominay in that FA Cup game. And the other thing I really liked was that Ole fully rotated the team. It's something I think he's not done enough before. He's put a lot of value in these cup games that I kind of understand. He wants to win something. And I thought that maybe after we went out of the Carabao Cup, he might have put more importance in the FA Cup, but I was so happy to see that he put out a nearly fully rotated team over there.
And I think it's important too, because like as important as it is to get results in the league, you have to keep the fringe players in the squad kind of involved, right? You have to keep them feeling part of the process, especially somebody like...
And you have to keep them fresh in case they need to come in, like when you have injuries. And plus, like we've actually got a really good strength and depth in the squad now. So like when we put out a team with so many changes, and it's still a pretty good team.
I mean, it's like, all internationals, right? It's like Van de Beek.
Van de Beek plays, Tuanzebe. You want to see these players, Tellez. Then all right, there's the likes of Lingard, who maybe people are not expecting to see so much. I mean,
shop
Williams,
where
there's a lot of talk about him going off. Yeah, look, like I say, shop window. I don't know, like if anybody.
Well, Fosu Mensah apparently is getting sold. Which we didn't.
I think I actually read today he's already on a plane out to Germany,
to Leverkusen,
and he's off to Leverkusen. Fair play, good luck to him. Didn't work out. I think he was never quite the same after he had a couple of injuries. So yeah, let him go and have some other chance somewhere else. But yeah, Greenwood had a game up front, wasn't so amazing. James, okay, Mata. But yeah, all these players, they need to have minutes to keep fresh because, we're sure to get injuries at some point. And, they'll come from over there. But we shouldn't forget, of course, that our cup draw gives us Liverpool again. We'll play Liverpool this Sunday. Then we've got midweek game at Fulham. And then next weekend again, FA Cup, is it fourth or fifth round? Fourth round even, I think it is Liverpool. And, Ole, a lot of people say that Ole is a really lucky manager.
His cup draws have been brutal.
Absolutely brutal. We had like that Champions League group of death. Then like we end up playing City when it could have been Brentford or, even
Spurs,
Tottenham is an easier draw in those semi-finals. Now we get Liverpool here. I mean, after that, I think it looks like it might be West Ham. I think they'll play Doncaster Rovers the thing after. But to be honest, I'm not even that bothered about the FA Cup. I would be happy to play a reserve team like in these early rounds. The only thing is like you never want to go to Liverpool, play Liverpool and get slaughtered. Is actually going to be at Old Trafford, but you never want to play them and just give it away. But what happens in this game will give a lot of kind of clues to what you can do there. Because like if we lose at Anfield, then kind of for that just revenge and prestige, you want to win that FA Cup game. Whereas if we get a decent result and then we're playing Fulham, hopefully we're like, still 3-4, like, the dream scenario is that we're actually like 9 points clear of Liverpool, which is actually possible. Like, if we were in that dream scenario, then I actually don't care about that FA Cup game at all. And never mind the reserves, send out the youth team. But yeah, we'll see from there. That's, like I say, the dream scenario is being 9 points clear. Worst case scenario, like, even if we lose to Liverpool, hopefully we still get some kind of points at Fulham. And yeah, we're still up there. But yeah, we could talk about that kind of closer to the time, what that actual Liverpool Cup game. But, well, at the moment, it's all about this league over here, sitting 3 points clear, going to Anfield. Who would have thought about it? And one question, I still see people saying, I even just had an argument with somebody on Twitter like 2 days ago when I said, he was moaning still. There's still people moaning about Ole and this and that. And I said, look, we're top of the league, like, and what is there to moan about? And he was like, no, we're not in it. We're not. I said, we're in the league title race for the first time in years. Just enjoy it and back the team. And he said, no, we're not in the title race. It's too early to say that. Things can change so quickly. And yeah, I do get that because, a few weeks ago, people were saying Chelsea are winning the title. A few weeks before that, they were saying, Tottenham are winning the title. And, everything is bunched up.
Spurs are never quickly. Winning a title. Let's be real. Come on.
Listen, we are in the title race, right? I don't know why this question is still out there. I've seen it asked as well. There's been various articles. Are Manchester United? We are in the title race. How can you be like in mid-January, top of the league, and people are questioning whether we're in the title race? Like, I mean, it's ridiculous. I can understand that, like, if you're in October, November, even pre-Christmas, once you get into the new year, if you're top of the league, you are in the title race.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is. I feel like there are people that have determined that, we don't have good patterns of play and there's no style and whatever. And so therefore, I personally thought today we looked like we had a pretty clear-cut strategy and a plan, and we attacked it fairly doggedly and kept going at it, and we got our rewards. And yeah, like if you're top of the league after 17 matches, yeah, you are in the title race. Like I don't. Think of it this way: if we collapse and finish 6th now, it would 100% be used against him that we were top of the league after 17 matches, right? Like it would be used as, they were top of the league and he couldn't do it. He couldn't even stay in the title race. Like it would be used as a stick against him. So you have to also say that I'm not like, you don't have to give him an award for it, obviously, but he does deserve credit for having this team at the top of the league. And I think it's something also to be noted that, Klopp has been bitching and moaning and crying this entire season about the fixtures are so congested and we only have 3 subs and it's so hard and all my injuries and all this stuff. I have zero sympathy for him. And I promise you, Kane is going to get hurt and Son will get hurt and Jose will start crying. I have no sympathy for these guys because they're not rotating the squad. They're not doing a good job of managing players' minutes. And I think one thing Ole has done a good job of this season, for better or worse, is managing minutes and rotating the squad.
Yeah, definitely. And it was a big criticism last season of him, where he just played players into the ground.
And it's a reason we don't have a significant injury list that other clubs have. That's a credit to him because he is actually taking the long view of something and not just focusing on game to game, but he's managing his squad and he's managing to a particular vision, and he's taking, look, this is a weird season. I think we can all say that, right? This is a bizarre season with the fixtures being, it's endless, right? It feels like every 3-4 days you have a match. It might not be a league match, but you have a match. And it's tough. It's a grind. And I have no sympathy for these managers that have big squads that aren't using them. I think there's a reason that City don't have a significant injury list at this point because, like United, Pep has rotated his squad pretty decently well. And then
he actually over-rotates, right. Always frustrating fantasy Premier League managers everywhere where you pick his players and you never know who's going to start. But yeah,
and I just think I think he deserves a lot of credit. And even from the start of the season, it almost felt like, I mean, there's been so many different points, I think, in this season where it would have been easy and almost understandable if the players did not put in performances for him. There was all the excuses, right? All the excuses were there, but he turned it around and he's kept the players on his side, which is something that, if you want to say Jose is a better manager, Van Gaal is a better manager, okay, that's fine. But they couldn't achieve that. And to be quite honest, I think at these top clubs, that is way more important than being, this amazing tactical guru. Because at that level, you have talented players. So what you need to do is make sure that those players feel motivated, that they feel like that they are performing for you, that they support you. And yeah, like just generally kind of keeping them happy. And if nothing else, I think you see like Pogba in a match like this, I think it says something that he can extract that level of commitment and performance from him, even though I think we all know and everybody knows that Pogba ultimately is probably not staying at the club for much longer past the season. So yeah, he deserves a lot of credit. And, I don't think that he's anywhere near this tactical moron that people love to pretend that he is. And
no, there's so many myths. Like, I've had this out before. Like earlier in the season, it came, and we had a show when we were talking about Leipzig and Ole, and people were saying he's out of his depth against Nagelsmann and Tuchel. And then look, in the end, we did go out of that Champions League group, but at the same time, he beat them both in matches. He's done very well against Pep. He's got a good record against Jose. As I said, actually, Klopp is the one that he still needs to beat a couple of times to then be feeling that he's had it over on him. But yeah, when it comes to tactically, we've done very well in the big matches. The actual thing that people kept saying, and people still say it, but for me now it's such an outdated myth, is that we can't break down the small teams. And that might have been true like last year, but it's not true anymore. You look at our record against the small teams this year and we've beaten them all. Like there's been the odd anomaly, obviously at the start of the season we had like Palace and whatever, but otherwise we've basically beaten them all. And it's only actually been this season, it's actually gone the reverse, where we've had a few draws and loss in the kind of bigger matches, whereas the big games have not been an issue for us anymore. So this was a myth that it was actually true, like I say, a year ago, but it's now no longer true that Ole has trouble with breaking down small teams. And a lot of that is down to Bruno, but yeah, whatever the reason is, that is something that should no longer even be mentioned as a criticism. So like I say, these were the things that people used to come out with. And even a lot of the people who talk about us having no identity, no system, that has gone now as well. Like, we've talked a lot about this year. We did chop and change a fair bit between 4-2-3-1, diamond, 5 at the back. But Ole's system is 4-2-3-1. He wants to go fast in the transition. He wants players to play quick, one-touch passing. That's why you see kind of like back heels and things like that. And, there was one today, Martial almost gets Pogba in and there's kind of like a shout for a penalty. He encourages a lot of one-touch play in the attacking side. It doesn't always come off, but yeah, when it does, it is great to see. And for me, it is the best football when it comes off that we've played since Alex Ferguson days.
Like that's the identity of the club. Like that's what United. Like I don't want to watch United and have them play like peak Barcelona and pass the ball around 6,000 times. Like I don't want to watch Pep. Like I don't want to watch Pep ball. I don't.
Yeah, well, we had that. We had that under Van Gaal, right?
It was terrible. It was
all like the focus was on possession. Then we had the Mourinho, which is totally different, all about defending, waiting for mistakes from the other team. But this is the style of football that we like to see. Like we go for the attack. You want to get that ball forward. You want to create chances. And then, the goals come from there. And, that's why I've backed Ole all the way. Because I said the style of football, the way he's going about it, the players he's bringing in are players that I like. Whereas there was a lot of players who've come in recent years that I was not that sure about. And to be honest, actually, I was not that sure about when Cavani came in this summer. But he has convinced me already that he is the right kind of player for us. And I think that, club are already looking at extending his deal for another year, which I think is a good idea because up front is still a bit of a question mark for us. And in fact, Cavani's not played enough this year. He's still not got used to this kind of system. That 4 that we played today, that some people might say is our strongest front 4. Martial.
Yeah, they haven't played much at all.
They've not started a Premier League game together before today. They played.
So the last time they started was PSG.
Yeah,
though,
they've started Champions League games together. This is the first time that front four, Martial, Bruno, Rashford, Cavani, started a Premier League game. And Cavani, because he had COVID, because he had this ban, then he had a bit of an injury, he's actually not played that much this season at all. So he's still really got to show his best for us. And yeah, I think the time for him to announce himself is Anfield. That is the day for Cavani to come and announce that he is a Manchester United player. He's not just here to fill a gap for a season, and he can stay on over there for a while more, and we'll take him there. That was the only small thing that actually I said after that Watford game. I said I felt really sorry because I mentioned him a couple of weeks ago because I'd seen him in the supermarket, Odion Igalo. And then he got a lot of mention in Ole's pre-match press conference. And he was like nearly guaranteed him game time, but he didn't get on the pitch. So he must have been so gutted that he's now more or less going to be leaving the club now, not having played. But since Cavani's come in, he's obviously been the one who's like lost out completely. He at least used to, be on the bench and get 5 minutes here and there, but yeah, he'll now be leaving. We're still waiting to see, as you said, Fosu Mensah's on a plane. We'll see whether Romero and Rojo can get out the door this window. And then, we already talked about him last time. We'll see whether Diallo can come and contribute anything for the rest of the season over here.
He's going to win us the league. Oh.
Yeah, look, today, like I say, is like we enjoy this. We're top of the league. And like I say, I cannot understand United fans who are saying, we shouldn't get too excited because it's still like, we're only at we're not even at the halfway week. And we are actually only like 2 games off the halfway point of the season. Listen, I'm definitely getting excited. I still, as I said a few weeks ago, don't think that we will win the league because I think ultimately that Liverpool squad and City squad is better than ours. But I'm just happy that we're in the race. I'm just ecstatic that we can go to Anfield and actually be in a better position than them. And yeah, if you're a United fan and you're not enjoying this right now, then you need a new club, a new sport, because this is not working out for you, right? If you cannot enjoy when your team is 3 points clear at the top of the league, then yeah, you need to go.
And who expected that? And you have to enjoy it because I don't think any of us, again, like even after the first maybe 6, 7, 8 matches, I don't think any of us expected a title challenge. Or to even be in this position after 17 matches. So yeah, like enjoy it. I mean, who cares? Like if it looks stupid 3 months from now, fine. But it's fine to in the moment.
Enjoy it now. That's it. Like I said, I don't expect that we're actually going to win the league, but I'll actually be happy for us just to be in the race and to comfortably finish top 4. For me, is actually progress because we haven't done top 4 finishes back to back since Fergie left. So for me, that is progress for us even to do that. We're going to enjoy this for sure. Like I say, we have a 5-day rest. Liverpool back on Sunday. We will definitely be recording after that. Then we get Fulham. Then we're back in the cup again. Before we finish off today, a bit of kind of admin and housekeeping. Always shout out, Twitter is the place to really follow us. We are on Facebook, and thanks to the people who follow us on there. All we mostly do is post our shows, but if you want to see our thoughts when we're not recording and during games and things like that, then do get on the Twitter, United_hour. We do have a slightly growing following. I know David out in Canada has started our Instagram page. That I actually don't do Instagram, so I actually have no idea what's going on over there, but anybody who does Instagram, feel free to follow us over there. Patreon as well, thank you very much to our subscribers. And in fact, that Liverpool game that's coming up this weekend is going to be the day that we launch our match day chat. I've mentioned it a couple of times. Anyone even on our lowest tier, you will get an email this week inviting you to join the group. You can come and see what all the boys, everybody who's on the podcast, Jamie, Colm, Alex, Ashwin here, Ed, you can hear their thoughts during the match, positive, negative, whatever. The invites will go out this week for joining that chat. And then, I do want to give a big thanks as well to Manscaped, who are actually sponsoring us for the next month or so. I think you've already, Ashwin, received a kind of Christmas package from them, right? Have you had a chance to use it yet?
I did have a chance to use it today, and Yeah, I feel much cleaner. I think I guess I'll have to let you guys know tomorrow what the results
All right,
are.
yeah. What your girlfriend coming round?
Yeah. So I'll have to let you guys. I'll let you guys know tomorrow. But I'm
Right,
hopeful.
on the
I'm
next
hopeful that we'll get a positive review.
Yeah, look, as I say, anybody who's into that, Manscaped is all about male grooming and especially below the belt grooming. Do check out their website. And yeah, if you're looking for those kind of products, you'll get 20% off and free shipping by using the code United Hour. Manscaped.com. We have posted it out as well, the code on Twitter. But yeah, United Hour, Manscaped.com will get you 20% off over there. But yeah, when we all get our products, we will give you some first-hand reviews of that stuff over there. I think that's about a wrap for this week. As I say, this is the going top of the league party with 3 points clear going to Anfield. It's a good time to be a Manchester United fan. And yeah, look, let's enjoy it while it lasts, because yeah, we don't know how long it'll last in these crazy COVID times. But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it right now. And yeah, I mean, that's peace out from me for today.
Yep. Good night from me.